And then a few months later, in that conversation, it was like, okay, this is a kind of a crazy guy that just biked 100 miles home by himself. I bet he would want to do this. So then I was like, hey, like, you want to bike back to Philadelphia at the end of the semester, which was in like 2 weeks. And then he's like, let's do it.
Welcome to the Inspirit podcast from Amoris Christi. Join us as we explore current events and all manner of fascinating topics and explore their connections to Christian living.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Inspirit podcast. It's a pleasure to be joined today by Geoffrey, Merz, and Joseph Abraham. Well, thank you guys for being with us.
It's great to be here.
Yeah. Welcome. I've known you guys for a few years now. I think World Youth Day Panama is where I think I first met Geoffrey. I don't remember when I first met you, Johnny, but we also called Joseph Johnny as well, just for our listeners. But
confusing from the get-go.
Yeah. But Geoffrey is here at Amoris Christi. He's a director of student life, and Johnny's a creative editor, works in a lot of creative fields, has his own agency or company, as we would call it, does a lot of freelance work about it. So, yeah, thank you guys for being here with us. We thought of talking about the friendship, mainly because I thought of two of you guys because I've seen the beauty of you guys' friendship. I feel like I kind of third wheeled my way into you guys' friendship too in certain points. So it's just been beautiful for me to see your guys' journey. And friendship is just such an important part of everyone's lives here on earth. And it's an important part of our Christian journey as well. So we thought we'll talk a little bit about that, and pick your guys' brain on your experience as young adults. Well, Jeff is soon to be married. He just got engaged, and Johnny's, married life. So just how do we navigate friendships? You guys met in college, now, moving on with life in different parts. So I'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think we might have met you on this road trip back when you were in Arkansas.
No, but isn't that post World Youth Day?
I met Anthony a few years before that, actually. I met you.
Oh, Haiti, yeah.
But I think that was before World Youth Day, was it?
Yes.
Really? The road trip was before?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we came to Anthony's apartment.
One bedroom apartment.
Arkansas.
Anthony was
a doctor out there.
He was doing his residency in Arkansas, and he's in like this one bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
And like we stopped there with.
Because I had a one bedroom, like the 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom, like they cost the same, but I was like, no one's gonna come visit me in Arkansas. It's like, there's no point.
And then 4 people come in a minivan.
No, but it was good.
I think that was the first meal that was cooked in Anthony's apartment.
Oh yeah, it's true. That is true. I remember that.
Oh my gosh, I remember being in that park. Remember the night we got there? We went to that park and we got Domino's pizza, and we ate it at this gazebo by a lake. I just popped into my head right now.
Yeah, that's true. And the cop followed us the entire time because they were like, "What is these kids up to?" But that was all good.
Good memories.
Yeah, good memories. So just getting back to it, like how have you guys, through each other, through other people, like experienced friendship, and what does friendship kind of look like for you guys? A true friendship.
Yeah, it's funny. Like Jeff was just saying before that, like, he did the sports one, I think, some time back, and he was like, I feel very comfortable talking about sports because I know a lot about sports. Friendship, it's like, I don't know if I know anything about friendship. We've been friends for, I guess, something like 6-7 years now. 7 years? I don't know, 8 years?
I think 6 or 7.
Something like that. What was the question again?
Like, what does true friendship mean to you or look like for you?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's something you've seen in Jeff or you've experienced through Jeff, and, maybe just trying to articulate that a little bit.
Yeah, I was remembering, like we were thinking about this a bit yesterday, and I was remembering that, like my life of friendship before college, like when I was in high school, I was like this very dependable, reliable friend to a lot of people, and I was like, I felt like, I was kind of a well-known, like sort of popular, quote unquote, person, and I remember like when I was like, all of my relationships felt like they were like I was trying to like earn something. Like I was like always like someone who was reliable. And so I felt like a lot of people relied on or could rely on me, but I didn't know who I could rely on. And whenever I think of my friendship with Jeff and a couple of my closest friendships, really, I think about this moment where like my freshman year of college, I go through this breakup, and I went to visit my then girlfriend, and on the way we broke up, and then I'm driving back on the way back, and I don't know if did I just dive off into the deep end super fast? This is like super intense, right? I'm driving back home, and like I've just broken up with this girl, and I'm like feeling all these emotions, and I'm like, I don't know who I can call to talk to about this. Like, I had been a friend to other people, but when I'm going through that, I'm just like, oh Lord, like I just want like a real friend, like a friend who I can rely on. And within a couple of months, actually within like a month after that, I think, or 2 months after that, is when I first met Jeff. And we didn't like, we hit it off in some ways. Like there's like this infamous Codenames game, right? We played, if you've ever played Codenames, we played this game Codenames.
Yeah.
And we were on the same team, and I made this like really crazy clue. It was something to do with like prom. Okay.
Prom 4. That was the clue.
And yeah, like it's like this game ending situation, and we're somehow on the same team, and I say prom 4, and you just like connected all the dots. Like it was kind of a weird clue, kind of stretching things, but there was some kind of moment between us there, I guess. And then, but yeah. I don't know what your recollection of.
Yeah, I remember that game together, and it's like he gave me this clue, and the other team's about to win, and then through that clue, I guessed like 4 things in a row that was like the correct answer, and then we won the game. And then after that, it was just like that. Like it was impossible that could have happened.
Yeah,
and you just feel like, okay, we're like in sync. There's like something that's beyond comprehension that like we're in sync about.
Yeah,
and you I think experiencing that. I mean, the next game we did lose, and we but there
no
was
longer
like
it's like done.
But there is something there to that. Like I think I definitely experienced it in my friendship with Joseph, and like where you kind of understand a little bit more like what they're thinking or how they see things without necessarily having to like explain every word.
Yeah.
And there's something to that friendship where it's like you can look at the other person and you have that trust, you have that comfort of like, okay, I think I kind of know what he's thinking about the situation. And I think that was one of like that foundational things that kind of like kicked off our friendship in some way.
Yeah. So I think you guys, talked about like, there's an intuition in you, both of you guys. There was like a spark and there was a connection that kind of, allowed you guys to, get to know each other. And then first, when you guys got to be friends and as well. But I guess trust was a big part of that too, right? Going down the years of how you wanted to, both of you were there in different moments of your life for each other. Yeah. So I think, those are, probably some, good foundations of that. But like over the years, how have you seen it grow, and what have you guys kind of saw in each other's friendships as well?
I mean, I'd say definitely like the depth of our friendship has significantly grown, but maybe kind of like getting there was another big thing. What I say was like our shared interests and shared desires to explore, to adventure, to kind of do like crazy things. I think that was maybe more so the foundation than like our faith or even anything like you could say like much deeper. But there was a journey of like us just doing fun, creative, different things. Like because he was a film major and statistics in college, so he had to like direct these films. So then he would pull different friends into it. So then we would start acting in his films, and it was so much fun. And then through doing this acting, there was this one day where we're walking back to the dorm, and I had my bike with me because I liked biking around, and we just started talking about biking. And then Joseph told me that he had biked from Hershey back to Philadelphia, which is like 100 miles. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. You did a 100-mile bike ride. Because I had been wanting to bike from State College back to Philadelphia, which is 220 miles. And I told my parents, and I was like, I'm going to do this. And they're like, you can't do this alone. It's a bad idea. Yeah. So, like a good child, I obeyed my parents after much disagreement. And then a few months later, in that conversation, it was like, okay, this is a kind of a crazy guy that just biked 100 miles home by himself. I bet he would want to do this. So then I was like, hey, like, you want to bike back to Philadelphia at the end of the semester, which was in like 2 weeks. And he's like, let's do it. And
finding mutual craziness, I guess. Yeah.
There's if I was a good podcast guest, I would have looked up this quote before. But there's a quote by C.S. Lewis where he says that like friendship is that moment when like there's something about you that's like you, and that you don't know, like it's weird or unique or something. And friendship is that moment when you run into someone and you're like, oh, you also. Like that was what that moment was. Like it seems kind of silly. It's like you might be like, why did you guys bike 220 miles or whatever? But it was that moment where I remember when I did that bike ride by myself, and like actually when you're saying that, it's just clicking for me. Like I did that when I was in high school, and the week leading up to it, I'm like trying to convince so many different friends, like, hey, will you come with me on this 100-mile bike ride?
Yeah.
And there's like nobody, and my parents were like not like super for it. Luckily, my dad kind of was like, all right, yeah, like you can do it, and I did that bike ride. But when Jeff and I had that conversation in college, that was this, oh, you also moment for me. And I was like, oh, like.
And the joy you experience in that too,
exactly.
right? Like when it's not just you, there's someone else with you.
Yeah, because you want to do things with other people. You want to do things together. And like, it was fun to have done it the first time, but it was also like, I did it alone.
Yeah.
But this was like a whole different dimension. Like, and I think that's maybe really true of friendship in general, is like, I think we were talking about this as well. Like this idea that like when you do things in community, when you do things in relationship, it like opens up a new dimension, or like it multiplies what you're doing.
Yeah. It's because we are made for relationships, and we are made to like share the love that we have. But I guess just like for a person who's listening, or, just for someone who's wondering, like, many times we have, we want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. But then there's a moment where like you're saying, okay, I want to invite Johnny now into my life, or I want to invite Jeff now into my life to do these different things or to journey together in life. Why is that worth it for you guys? Why don't you want to do it alone versus, why don't you just want to like go about life alone? Why is it worth it to have Johnny as your friend, as you journey together?
I mean, it's for me, like even in that bike thing, like I actually like just wanted to do it alone.
Yeah. And
it was my parents who said, this is not a good idea. If they weren't there, I think I would have done it. And I don't know what the outcome would have been.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it probably would have been a great outcome. But even just that for my parents to say, you got to do this with somebody else, I think there was a wisdom there. And I don't think I would have even really fully known before that bike trip of like how enjoyable it was to go together. And I mean, there were so many moments where like I probably would have given up or would have got discouraged. I don't know, like or it could have become much more self-reliant. Oh, look at this bike ride that I did.
Yeah.
That, I did. But doing it together, it was like so many funny moments, so many creative moments, so many things that we talked about. Like we were biking together for 3 days, and by the time we reached Philadelphia, it was like we were just scratching the surface. So I think there was a deepening in the trust.
Yeah.
There was a deepening in what we were going to share about, and it was just enjoyable. It was enjoyable. It wasn't like the goal to accomplish it was a big thing, and we were able to do it together. But it wasn't like, all right, this friendship is just to accomplish this goal. It was like somehow there's a goal, but also there's a friendship that's developing. And looking back, like it wouldn't have been the same experience if I had done it by myself. Like, it would have been a cool story, but I don't think we would ever talked about it again.
What do you think, Johnny? Why is it worth it to you? Why is friendship worth it?
If we were looking at this like very academic perspective or whatever, it's like I think there's like that really big Harvard study on happiness, and I think the number one factor that they say is like when they looked across all socioeconomic factors and correcting for everything else, like the number one factor that like predicted people's happiness was like friendships and like relationships. And it's so much of who I am today, I would say is like opened up in friendships. Like there were so many fears and different things in myself that like I don't think I would have done half of the things that like especially the risky or adventurous things or the things that have been the most like I was thinking about what Jeff was saying about like, you know, you could do something. You can accomplish something for the sake of getting it done. Or yes, I want to finish this 200 mile bike ride and I want to make this thing happen. But when you look back and you have a story and you have an experience that you share, like life becomes so much more full. Like the things that happened in that trip led to us actually like becoming roommates. And then from that like led to this like deepening of friendship throughout the rest of college. Like we started doing these like backpacking trips and that's what like we still run those today. Like that all kind of starts off with that like, oh, you're also crazy like me. And when you have someone with you who shares that like who shares that craziness, who shares that like love, it brings like so much more joy and like freedom. I mean, I would say in myself, so many things that I would not have tried. Like I was able to believe in myself or believe in who I was through having like this friendship.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point. Like you brought about like the aspect of joy for it multiplies, as well as challenge. I think that's an important part from what you guys were sharing as well. Like each of you guys in different ways challenged you, and I think I've noticed this too. Like with friends, like you notice your friend and how he's going about life, and it challenges you. Is like, oh yeah, that's where I want to be too. So I think there's definitely a challenge too that part of friendship too.
I think challenge, and I think a big part too is like when you see your friend do something, it gives you the courage. Oh, I can do that too.
Yeah.
Like when we're biking or on these backpacking trips, we're climbing up the mountain, and like if I see him go over a hard part of the mountain, I'm like, oh, well, if Joseph can do it, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
Not because I think I'm a better climber than him. He's definitely a better climber than I am. But it's like, okay, if he did it and survived, I can do this too.
Yeah.
But then there'll be a part where like I'll go on a part where he was like, I don't know if that's possible. And then he'll be like, well, Jeff did it. Okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're at the top of the mountain.
When there's freedom and friendship, like I think some people, the thing that you're describing, like what it's reminding me of is like, sometimes in relationships you find like a lot of comparison, you find a lot of fear, and you feel like this like constant back and forth. The places in friendship, and part of where in our friendship I found so much freedom is that, you feel like what you're describing is like you can inspire each other in a way that like when Jeff climbs over the crazy rock, I don't think like there's sometimes relationships where you just like drawn to yourself and you're like, oh, I wish I could do that. I'm not like that, blah, blah, blah. But when I see Jeff do something good, I feel inspired. Like, oh, I also want to do something good.
Yeah.
Or yes, I can, like it inspires you to desire.
Yeah, I think it's the beauty of witness, helps you grow in virtue, helps you grow in desire. I think, here we use this a lot is like friendship is not about what the other person can do for you, but who you become in the presence of each other. And I think, like in a way, as you guys are sharing, I think you're sharing how each of you became better because of the other. And in a way, the Christian journey is that, we need each other to journey. I just really want to go back to one point because I've noticed like different people come into my life, different people, come, go, we don't decide that. But how are you guys over the past 7-8 years intentional about growing in friendship? Like, was there something intentional that you did? Because, okay, in a way you can say God kind of, or things happened that, you guys met each other, you had that prom 4 connection, you had that intuition there. Okay, this guy's a person who shares crazy. But then over the years, what were you intentional about? What were you not intentional about in growing in your friendship?
I would give a lot of credit to Jeff here. Because the reason is...
I'll give you that $20 that he asked me to.
The reason I'm saying that is,
I was going to say the opposite.
the reason I'm saying that is naturally, like, I'm very self-conscious, and for whatever reasons, there's some wounds or things in my life that made me, like, not really expect people to be close friends with me. Like, I didn't really think anyone wanted to be friends with me. And so when we had this kind of connection and stuff, what's really funny is probably like a couple times in the beginnings of our friendship, like, we would have moments where it was Jeff kind of intentionally, like, taking a risk and saying, like, hey, like I want to grow in this friendship. And I think it seems like something so, like, unnatural or awkward, but those are some of the moments that, like, distinctly stick out to me in my, like, memory of our friendship that gave me that sense that, like, oh, like, we want to be, like, he also wants to be friends with me. So he took kind of the risk of, because that's, like, the biggest fear. Like, can you imagine, like, you go up to someone, you're like, yeah, like, we want to be friends, or I want to be friends with you, and they're like, no, I don't want to be friends with you. Like,
fear of judgment.
The fear of judgment, like, it's so crippling. But, you know, somehow, I guess you had that intuition to, like, share that. And in sharing that, and there were moments where, like, it probably took, like, 3 times for me to get it, where I think I was just, like, afraid that, like, oh, like, Jeff's living his, like, cool life. Like, that was my initial impression when we first met. And I'm like, oh, like, he wouldn't want to be friends with me. Right. And then it was like a couple different moments where he's like, no, like, I value our friendship and I want to grow in friendship. Yeah. And just saying that and inviting me to it, like, that could have been, like, I've seen people's friendships fall apart over that moment.
Oh yeah.
Because people want to be friends, but they can't, like, articulate that to each other, and then they end up hurting each other. I think, like, we could have easily hurt each other in that process, but, like, by some grace, we both kind of understood that, like, yes, this is something the other person wants. And when you can share in that desire, like, it does take intentionality. It's not, like, there's a moment of intuition and a moment of automaticness that looking back you see, but it took a couple moments where it's like, hey, like, I want to be friends with you. And then you're like, yeah, I also want to be friends with you. And when that happens, it just really strengthens.
Yeah. I think there's a sense of vulnerability in asking that too, right? And there's a risk taking, like you were saying. And so I guess in a way you have to be willing to continue that as well. But Jeff, any thoughts on what you guys were intentional about, what you weren't intentional about? Because I think many people, whether in school or college, they have, or workplaces, you know, they have friends that, you know, based on the situation of their lives. But I think, like, you guys have been intentional about, like, no matter what situation your guys' life been, that about, like, staying friends. So
yeah, because when we were in college, for 2 out of the 3 years we were in college together, we were living in the same house, living in the same room for a whole year as well. And then after that, Joseph got married. I was abroad a bit. And then he moved to Houston. I moved to Florida. So pretty much, like, the last 5 years, we've been living in different places. And so through that, I think a few things. One would be, I feel like we find kind of excuses to hang out with each other, which is through backpacking, we've been doing these marathons, through different Jesus Youth programs. Like, somehow we'll find, it's not like an intentional, like, okay, like, we need this thing for our friendship to keep going, but it's these different things will come up, like, oh, let's run a marathon. And then we'll do these, you know, if we're traveling different places, like, to see each other, we'll just go on, like, a long run together. And in that run, we'll just catch up on life and talk. So I think through different things that we do, like, it opens a space to have conversations. But also, you know, like, we'll call each other and just talk about life. But it is definitely different. Like, you know, like, when you go from living every day together, you know, you kind of just know at the end of the day you're gonna have this conversation, talk about the day. But as that distance is there, and I think that's a common thing you see in a lot of friendships, and it's kind of like a test of the friendship, where it's like, when the physical proximity is not there,
Yeah.
it's easy for a friendship to kind of
Fade away.
because there wasn't the intentionality, or there wasn't whatever that common building block is. And I know for sure also our faith has been a big part of that, and that was something that Joseph definitely helped me to grow in. Like, in college, him drawing, he was really like into God and like prayer.
Into God.
He was like the Newman Center, just like the man over
Classic
there.
Newman Center campus student.
He was the campus
like
guy. I would just go to the general body meetings. But he got me in. We did like Exodus 90 together, which
nice.
we did this with 2 other friends. And it was just an awesome experience. This was like right when Exodus 90 was like starting, so it was intense. Didn't get all soft like it is today. And that's nothing against Exodus 90, but we had an awesome experience. And I remember I was drawn to it because it was like cold showers, like hitting the gym, just fasting. Like it was real, like that, like intensity. But then there was also this like, oh, you gotta pray every day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what does that even mean? And then he'd be like dragging me to these like morning holy hours, and not dragging me, but he would always just be inviting me, like, oh, you can come to this. But it was never like, oh, like it never felt like, oh, we're friends, like just to evangelize each other. It never was like
not using each other.
We're not using each other to accomplish some goal, but it was just like through that, then growing in that faith. And then, meeting his family. I remember going to their house for the first time, and he's got like 7 siblings, and they just hang out and pray together and play games. And I was like, what is this? And then going on this road trip with him and meeting all these other families in this movement, Jesus Youth, and then being a part of Jesus Youth, then working in a place that's so connected to Jesus Youth. Then now marrying someone who's like, so like none of these things, like, I mean, that's a bit away from the point, but the point being like that, definitely growing in faith together and seeking God together is something that's kept us growing in our friendship. Yeah.
And I think like even for, St. Augustine, that was an important part, like through friendship, actually you experience the intimacy of God. You experience the intimacy of God through friendship too. And so the journey together over the years, I think that's why we are intentional about, I think, in Christian friendships too, is because in a way through each other, you guys have probably tasted God and the love of God in different moments. So there's a continuous, like you were saying, a desire for more of that too. And so I think probably there's some reason for the intentionality as well.
Yeah, just to comment on that as well. Like I think in friendship, there can be like a natural joy, or there's like, it can be like a pleasing, like, oh, like it's fun being with each other. But I think something that I've especially tasted in our friendship is like that deeper aspect of like being seen, and being known, and like different points in college. Like I had like a breakup also, and being seen by Joseph after that, and him being there with me, listening, asking questions. So being seen, but then being led to a deeper self-knowledge myself of where I was at, my situation. Yeah. Noticing that I was actually feeling very lost. So those could be very scary things, but in the context of our friendship, that like allowed me to taste something so much deeper, which is like the joy of being seen, known, which is way beyond just doing a fun thing together. But then it's like, okay, then through that there's a much deeper trust where it's like, okay, I want to come back again and again to this friendship. Yeah,
I guess like if you've experienced through each other, to be seen, to be vulnerable, and to be loved and all that, how much more is it from God the Father to look at you and love you? So I think it's always infinite, and friendship allows us taste and experience. I'm sure, friendship is at all not like highs and, every day is like amazing here, but how do you guys handle like, boundaries, disagreements, or has there been any moments where it's been like, forgiveness that, has that been hard, or how do you guys kind of go about it? Or
I don't know what you're laughing about already.
I'm just laughing because I feel like we're both non-confrontational people. Yeah. So it took a while. We are. It took a while in our friendship to, I feel like, actually be upset with each other.
I remember
or express it.
Yeah. I remember like on one of our first backpacking trips, like during the night you have to like put all your like smellable stuff like in a bear bag and like hang it up in a tree. And we're both like leading this trip, and I've like been running around getting everybody's stuff, and I'm like, you got to put your stuff away, you got to put your stuff away, you got to put your stuff away. And then finally it's like we've hung up the bags, we've tied them up and everything, and then we get back in the tent, and like people are just about to go to sleep, and then I open my bag and there's like a block of cheese, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and this is before we'd grown into like how to disagree, how to like confront each other, whatever. And I like called out from I'm in the snoring tent because Jeff can't handle snoring. And I'm like, Jeff, there's cheese in my bag. And Jeff's like, yeah, whatever, just leave it there. But that was probably the first time I think we were like I thought he was like so mad at me, and you were probably just generally annoyed. Over time, I'll say that we're both pretty non-confrontational people. Yeah. Like it's a challenge. It's a problem. It would be better if we were more, but generally there's not a lot of things. I think we've also grown into that, but more like if one of us feels like, hey, this is like I'm upset about this, or I'm sad about this, or like I feel like we're growing into more and more being able to do that. We're very like gentle in our conversations to each other, I would say. Yeah. Like I remember one time we had this conversation where like I just like hadn't been like keeping up for a bit, and then Jeff, like anyone who's been in trouble with Jeff knows what being in trouble with Jeff is like. Jeff is like, so like he comes up and he's like smiling the whole time, and he's like, yeah, like it's just like super like nice, and
you don't
like,
even know if you did something wrong. It's like, what? Oh yeah, like, this is cool.
Wait, are you mad at me right now? But yeah, I mean, we've been lucky that I think most of the things that we've had conflicts about are usually, that's probably the most like deep thing that we had a conflict over. Otherwise, it's like
the block of cheese.
No. The friendship keeping up thing.
Yeah,
but
keeping
even
up,
that was like when you go through conflicts, it's like remembering that you desire friendship with each other. Like, cause when that moment happened and Jeff's communicating that to me, like if I draw into myself and I'm like, oh, I suck. Like, I don't know how to be a friend to anybody. Like, then I could just turn in and abandon the friendship and be like, oh, he doesn't like me anymore. But when he brought that up to me, I think in the safety of our friendship, I understood that, oh, this is this guy expressing like how we should be friends, or how he's desiring friendship, and I also desire friendship. So I was able to take it as like this is a place for me to grow in, and I can continue to grow in it through this friendship. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think as you're sharing this too, is like, I think in a way, friendship there always has to be an acceptance of the other for who they are. Because I think that's why you're able to share that disagreement, or you're able to share that, whatever is bothering you in your heart. But it comes from a place that's saying not of judgment, but saying like, this is what I'm experiencing, and I love you, I will accept you, but then we want to grow more from that. So I think having that experience of an acceptance, I think, is an important part of friendship. But what are you gonna say, Jeff?
Yeah, I think too, like there's different times that we've had different, either felt hurt or felt like something was off, etc. Like I think we both are also pretty like self-reflective people, so it'll be kind of like, I don't know if this is a me problem or if this is a you problem, but this is kind of something I'm noticing. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm sensing. I could be wrong, but I just want to put it out there, because it's like, and there's been different moments of either feeling like, oh, I don't know if there's like some kind of a distance between us, or I felt a little bit of hurt there, and being able to just like talk about these things, kind of clear the air is like, I think it's so important.
I think that openness is it's so important, and vulnerability is so important, because then like you're never guessing what the other person is like. If something is there in his heart, he'll share it to you. So I think that's an important part of friendship in general, I would say.
Yeah, that thing of clearing the air, and like I think that's something that you're really good at in general, is like sometimes people feel a tension or a resentment or something, and then they let it kind of fester. But in a friendship that's trusting, in a friendship that's loving, and there's safety in, you go right there. Like, and that's something that, like, I don't think came as first nature to me, but I've kind of learned through our friendship and seeing that, like, oh, opening up this thing that you're scared of is often so freeing. Like, and we're often avoiding those things because we don't want to see what's on the other side, because we're scared of that rejection or that pain. But like you said, that initial safety, like that way that we can take the criticism or we can take the challenge or the invitation because I know, oh, this guy cares. Like, we're in this together. When you have that safety, it's like, I can take almost anything that you say to me. But without that safety, it's like, it can be the point of fraction.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. And I think, in many ways, having that a person for each other and having that place of vulnerability, acceptance, and trust allows us to grow in the virtue together as well. I just, wanted to ask as well, not many people have the privilege of having a friend in their life like this, or a young person who's like probably like maybe struggling with friendship or doesn't have friends. What would you say to them, like, to help them, or how do we go about a person who doesn't have a friend in there?
You need it.
Yeah.
You need good friendships. And it's the most beautiful thing. And because it's so beautiful, it's so hard. And you can't just like have anybody become your friend. You can't like just make someone into a friend. Like, a friendship is a gift. And that's why, like, I think there's a Sirach quote that people always say, like, a faithful friend is a sturdy shelter, one who finds one. It's a precious gift. So the first thing I would recommend to people is like pray. Yeah. Like, pray for that gift. Ask God, like, Lord, I need this kind of a friendship, like one that's like safe, trusting, full. But then the second part of that is like, you have to pray and like ask. But the second part is like, you have to be ready to be that friend. You have to like make choices to be that friend. Our friendship could have just been like a good, like, biking buddy kind of friend. Yeah. But it was that intentional action, like, especially starting from Jeff, I would say, and then that I had to learn and reciprocate also. Like, there's an intentionality, a decision making. And sometimes people give up on friendships because of like, oh, here's like a negative moment, or here's a moment where I don't feel safe, or here's where you criticize me and I don't feel supported. And it's like, I think those reasons are oftentimes can be the wrong reasons to abandon a friendship. Yeah. And it's like making that intentional decision. So like, part one is like trusting God, like ask God for the friends. And the second part is like practice being that kind of friend. Yeah.
Yeah, I think friendship is a gift for sure. And, as you guys have experienced that through each other as a gift, but you guys were also, intentional, solid responsibility that comes with the gift. And so I think there's an aspect of sacrifice also involved in friendship too, for it to allow it to flourish. So yeah, what were you going to say, Jeff?
Yeah, I was thinking, it's definitely a gift. And I think a big grace in our friendship has been that, I don't know how to describe it, but like, kind of like you were saying, of like that non-comparison, non-judgment towards each other, and not really feeling like that insecurity. And I think that can be like that. I think that's super important. But it's possible that somebody could be constantly receiving this gift of people, but be feeling so insecure, feeling so comparative that it's hard to actually grow in that friendship. So, I think that aspect of prayer also, and finding that security more in God, and being able to trust more in those friendships.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might have all these friendships come your way and
Yeah.
never be able to actually
Yeah.
receive them.
Ultimately, you have to take that risk, right?
You take that risk, and I think grow in that freedom yourself, grow in that, which doesn't also happen necessarily outside of a friendship, but that each person needs to be able to also have that capacity to be there for the other person. Because I remember one of my different friendships over the years, but one in college where it's like it was a little bit more one-sided, where it's like I was just there for him, but he wasn't really able to reciprocate that. And then that kind of leads to a strain, because it's like, you feel like it's not a friendship. It feels more of like you're just their sounding board, or helping. You're kind of like helping them, but it's not really like a
in a way, like it can turn into use or utility. Like whenever they're just going through something, they just need you and things like that. Yeah.
So I think that's an important thing, like being able to self-reflect too, and see like, okay, like how am I able to engage in different friendships, and are there areas I need to kind of keep growing?
I think probably something I never thought of, like as you guys were sharing too, is like I also need to be aware that I have to have the capacity to be there for the other, because oftentimes I think of always the other person. Is he there going to be there for me? Is he going to be there for the other? Is he going to be there during my tough times or the beautiful times? But just being able to look at yourself and saying, I also have to be there. I think that's a beautiful way of, allowing us to grow and desire for more.
Yeah. The only way to have a really good friend is to be a really good friend. Like if I want all of the kind of gifts of friendship, but I don't want to be a gift of friendship, then like chances are I probably won't be able to make good friendships. It's like, because it's when I'm living my life as gifts that I can receive another person as gift. Because otherwise I would probably be taking. Yeah. And I would be just like, here's something that fulfills my needs. But when so there's that like common interest. So I guess one other practical thing is like finding people with common interests and like diving into your own interests. Like if you're interested in things, go and be part of, like if you're into biking, join a biking club. Yeah. If you like movies or whatever, like get connected to people who are interested in those things, and oftentimes in that same direction, in faith, someone who's pursuing the same things as you, someone who's walking in that same direction. When you're already walking in that same direction, it's a lot easier to just be like, let's go side by side.
I think values, faith, all that play such an important role in the decisions that we make. So not to take that for granted.
Just touch on that too. I think in our friendship, a lot of it was always pointing towards something beyond ourselves, which I think has helped our friendship a lot. Let's go backpacking. Let's do Exodus 90. Let's do this late night game show thing together. Like there was always something that we were kind of always aiming towards that I think allowed us to not get so fixated on each other, or like, and I think it's a
journey together, right?
I think with developing any friendships, like when you have that shared interest, it's easier to have conversation. Like even I notice, here at the School of Nazareth, like sometimes I'm like, how do I connect to the students? So they'll be playing these like Asphalt 8 racing video games, and they have a whole leaderboard and stuff. So I like competing and stuff. I'm not particularly into video games and racing, but I love competing. So I'm like, all right, I'll join in. And then I get really into it. And the next thing you know, like we're talking about this Asphalt 8 all the time. And you finally get your first point on the leaderboard. You're like, wow, I'm like 8th out of 10th every time. But it's like, obviously the goal is not to just remain at Asphalt 8 as the only thing we ever talk about. But it's like, you kind of need to start somewhere. Yeah. You can't just go right into, tell me about your deepest, darkest secret. Nobody wants to do that. It's not natural. It's not. Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that. It's not human either. Human. So like, you
gotta go.
You have to find I agree. Like the starting place is always like a shared interest or something like that.
And it's part of also just being human in that like you don't like we want friendship for the sake of friendship, but no one is interested in friendship for the sake of friendship. Does that make sense? Like you don't just like friendship means a going together, but it's like, you're not going to friendship. You're going somewhere beyond. And if like, it's like if you were on a first date with someone and you'd like right away are just like talking about what dating them is like, but you haven't done anything. It's like, you'd be like, what is this? Like, what kind of conversation is this? Right. So friendship is like that too, where it's like friendships, I don't think really in a human way, they don't start being about friendship. Like they start being about something else, like the phrase transcendent third is coming to me. I don't know if
transcendence. I was gonna say like it's a journey that takes you closer to God. For me, that's what I've seen. Like, and sometimes you don't know where that next step is, but your friend allows you to take you there. So, yeah, transcendence. I would say, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I think we've kind of, hopefully talked quite a bit about friendship and kind of sparse that out a little bit, and hopefully it's helpful for our listeners too, and to see what a beauty that friendship can be in each of our lives, and the joy that comes with it, and how it helps each of us become a better person, but also closer to God. So thank you so much, guys, for your time, and we'll catch up soon. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Inspirit podcast. Inspirit is an initiative of Amoris Christi, an apostolate dedicated to lay spiritual formation. For more information and to keep up to date, you can visit our website at amorischristi.org and follow us on social media.